Welcome again to our reflection for this week. We began with the hymn, New Every Morning. I remember, as perhaps you do, singing that in school assemblies, and I love it for that sense that every day is a fresh start, a new beginning. And yet, of course, as the day goes on, things intrude. We have busyness, we have challenges, we have things that perhaps don't go quite right. There are little highlights and good things in the day, and other things perhaps we wish hadn't happened. And perhaps by the end of the day, there we are with some things we hoped we'd get round to and haven't managed. I'm hearing a lot just at the moment of people who say they're finding it harder to sleep at nights. And I've been thinking about that. Lots of reasons, perhaps. The weather recently, it's either been hot and muggy or perhaps now verging into thunderstorms. But beyond that, there's a certain weariness, isn't there, after all of these many months of lockdown and restrictions, and chemically our bodies are living with a constant level of anxiety coursing through our veins. And so perhaps it's no surprise that we find it hard to settle. And there is such a thing these days as sleep hygiene. And you sometimes see articles in magazines and newspapers about it. May seem common sense, but things to remind ourselves of. Not least switching off our blue screens, our TVs and phones and computers. Having a bit of a routine, a hot bath, a warm drink, but no caffeine. Having simple ways in which we can unwind, settle, and offload some of the things that are racing around in our heads. Now, we may not have called it sleep hygiene, but for people of faith, of course, a quiet moment with God at the end of the day has always been an important part of our life of faithfulness. I remember as a child saying a bedtime prayer with parents. Not all of them, I have to say, were reassuring. There was one, perhaps you know it, "Now I lay me down to sleep." And it had that scary line in it, "If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take," which, as a small child, was perhaps a bit scary. But the practice of a quiet moment with God settles us for the night and gives us an opportunity to be thankful. I've been looking all over for a book that I wanted to share with you. It was published, I think, about 25 years ago, and I can't just find it anywhere. But it's called Sleeping with Bread. And it is about prayer at night time, about reflecting on the day. And the authors chose that title because of a story which you may know, which goes back to World War II. At that time, of course, in Europe, there were sadly many, many children who were refugees, some of them orphaned, bombed out of their houses. And many of them were gathered and cared for in places of safety, where they were fed and kept warm. But of course these children had been through horrendous things. And many of those children simply couldn't sleep at night. And then somebody hit on the idea of giving each child a small piece of bread at bedtime. And the children took that piece of bread and they held it tight, or perhaps put it under a pillow, knowing that they were safe, that they had eaten today, that they would eat tomorrow. And it seems that that simple gesture allowed many of those children to get a good night's sleep. It's a wonderful story, isn't it? And of course, we remember so many images that race through our mind. Jesus being the bread of life and God being our refuge. Words from the Psalms. From Psalm 91. My refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield. You will not fear the terror of the night. And there is something rather beautiful in remembering that God has been with us this day and will be with us through the night and tomorrow. You may know the work of the Northumbria community, a Christian community based in Felton in Northumberland. And they have created some very beautiful liturgy and prayers. And in their liturgy for evening prayer, they have some words which actually pick up on that theme of sleeping with bread. So let me read this to you. I will wait for the Lord, my soul waits, and in his word do I hope. Lord, you've always given bread for the coming day, and though I am poor, today I believe. Lord, you've always given strength for the coming day, and though I am weak, today I believe. Lord, you've always given peace for the coming day, and though of anxious heart, today I believe. Lord, you have always kept me safe in trials, and now, tried as I am, today I believe. Lord, you have always marked the road for the coming day, and though it may be hidden, today I believe. Lord, you have always lightened this darkness of mine, and though the night is here, today I believe. Lord, you have always spoken when time was ripe, and though you be silent now, today I believe. So I hope that today goes well, that at night time you find peace. And we'll finish today with a hymn of thankfulness, which again reminds us of God's presence with us all.